Hello students, this is part 2 of a lesson on paragraph structure where we talk about the topic, main idea, supporting details, and conclusion. Now let's look at another paragraph and review what you've learned. So push pause, read this paragraph, and identify what is the topic. And here are the answers. So the topic of this paragraph is international education. Why is that the topic? Well, if you look through the paragraph, you see words that are repeated throughout the paragraph. And the words are either about studying, education, study, learn, studying, study, study, educational, or about international. We have the word international, other countries, different cultures, overseas, another country, and world. So as you can see, there is a theme going through, and that is international education. Now, let's look at this paragraph again, and this time ask yourself, what is the main idea of this paragraph? Remember that the main idea is going to be a complete sentence, and it's going to be what the author claims about the topic. So it's going to be something the author says that the author believes about the topic of international education. So push pause, read the paragraph again, and identify which sentence contains the main idea. And here is the main idea. The main idea is the focus of education is becoming increasingly international. That is what the author is claiming about the topic of education, international education, that more and more education is becoming international. Now, I know that you probably were tempted to choose the first sentence because the first sentence is usually the main idea. But when you read the first sentence, you can see that it's talking about in the past. And so it's contrasting itself to the main idea. So in the past, this is what happened. However, nowadays, this is what happened. So how do you know which one to choose? It seems like you're usually looking at the first sentence of a paragraph, and how do you know when it's not the first sentence, when the main idea is somewhere else? Well, if you look at the rest of the paragraph, you're looking for, does these supporting details support this about students focusing on the history and geography of their own country? Or do these supporting details support this, that the focus of education is becoming increasingly international? And as you can see, if you've read the whole paragraph, these supporting details support the second sentence, which is the author's claim about the topic. Now let's look at the paragraph again and ask yourself, what are the supporting detail sentences that show that the author's claim is valid? So push pause, decide which sentences, and then come back. And here we go. We have the blue sentence, the green sentence, and the two red sentences, which are the supporting detail sentences. Now, why are they colored like this? Because each one of these is a main point that supports the main idea. This one is just basically saying that students study the history and geography of other countries, which shows that education is becoming increasingly international. And then it says they learn other languages, sometimes a second, sometimes a third language, which is more support for the international nature of their education. And then the third point is that they actually go overseas. So this first sentence says they go overseas to study, and the second sentence gives more detail about that. It gives numbers, which are details that support this main idea. And then lastly, what is the conclusion? So remember that the conclusion will restate the main idea. And the main idea is that the focus of education is becoming increasingly international. So it's going to be a sentence that says something in that same meaning, that same flavor. So which sentence would you say is the conclusion? And of course, in this paragraph, it is the last sentence, and it's usually always going to be the last sentence. But the way to tell if it's actually the conclusion and not another supporting detail is that it's going to be more general than the supporting detail sentences. And it's going to have a very similar meaning as the main idea. So where it says educational leaders know that today's students need skills as well as knowledge about the world, it's saying the same thing, that the focus of education is becoming increasingly international because the students are learning more and more about the world. So that's how you know that it's wrapping it up with the general idea again, rather than an additional supporting detail. Now, try this on your own. Each sentence in this paragraph has a number. So on a piece of paper, first write the topic. So you need to read through, figure out what the topic is, and then write the sentence number of the main idea, then write the numbers of the sentences for the supporting details, and then write the number for the sentence that is the conclusion. And then come back and check. And here are the answers. So the topic is financial management. The main idea is in the first sentence. The supporting detail sentences are the second, third, and fourth sentences. And the conclusion is sentence number 5.